Welcome to the first of many episodes with Dubai Property Pulse, a series of episodes where we invite developers, individuals to discuss their opinions, their mindsets, and the real ins and outs of the Dubai property market. Today, I'm with the Chairman of Tranquil Developers, Dr. Sharad Nair. And how are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you, Alia.
Amazing. Well, today we're just going to get into a bit more about yourself and about Tranquil. And yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So I understand from before real estate, you were actually into finance and global business development. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. I've been in the country for about 28 years in UAE, and large part of my career in the country was focused towards banking and financial services. And again, in banking and financial services, I've done all roles, right from being a relationship manager to being an MD and CEO. And I had the privilege of covering a wide range of expatriates in UAE. So at any given point, we used to have 4 or 5 different segments we would cover, in which there was the non-resident Indian, the non-resident Pakistani, the Arab-speaking market segment, the African segment. So essentially, Southeast Asia, the Arab world, and Africa was always covered out of UAE. At some stage of my career, I also lived in Singapore, where I was covering Asia as a market as well. So yes, I've spent a long time in the financial services before moving over to start a career in the entrepreneurial world.
So I think what I'm really trying to get at is what really brought you and drawn you towards Dubai real estate then to then initially start your developments?
Well, real estate as an asset class today is one of the largest investment asset classes. So if my memory serves me right, at the moment, if you were to put all the real estate in the world together, we are looking at a valuation of over 350 trillion US dollars.
Wow.
So that makes real estate the single biggest investment asset class in the world, far greater than equities, fixed income, and other securities or other investable instruments that are usually quoted in the conventional world.
I mean, I reckon it was probably a bit convenient as well, considering your background, that you probably were able to liaise with these clients as well and perhaps push them towards Dubai real estate. Is that something that would have encouraged you to move towards the Dubai real estate as well?
Absolutely. You see, when it comes to investment asset classes, in the old world, when I started my career, it was quite focused towards someone saving a bit of their income, and the first level of investment they would go in was a deposit in a bank, and then graduate from there into investing in mutual funds, which was a convenient way of accessing the investment market, and eventually move into direct equities and direct bonds and other instruments. Although at some stage, as the real estate market, particularly in UAE, started moving towards where we are today, a lot of investors felt the need to diversify their investment asset class into real estate as well. So, there's a very popular saying among the Emiratis, real estate as an investment asset class, make it sick but never die.
Wow. Very strong statement.
So, in my early days, I used to notice my Emirati clients were quite, quite knowledgeable and quite interested in their portfolio. And the portfolio always would consist a piece of real estate. And in most cases, I found real estate was a large piece of their portfolio in comparison to the liquid investment markets. I mean, when I'm saying liquid, I mean the conventional equities, fixed income, and other asset classes. So when I looked at my Emirati clients, I found that real estate would always a large portion of their investments in comparison to other asset classes they had in their portfolio.
Yeah. Okay, and your project Blossom 76, what inspired this project?
See, while me and my partner Aditya, we were discussing on entering this industry, we we were looking at a space which, so one, we were very clear, we wanted to be in a boutique space because we believe being in the boutique space was critical because a lot of boutique players in the market have already now grown to be not so boutique. So
Yeah.
we found there was a niche that we could operate in. And, being a boutique player, similar to a boutique bank, has its own advantages in terms of for me, first and foremost is I would love to address a buyer by his name and not apartment number,
Yeah, of course.
and recall them by the name and not apartment number, which in turn gives me the advantage of trying and putting together a product which is more suitable for their personal circumstances than having a mass product which is built for all
Yeah.
and may not necessarily have flexibility or adaptability in terms of making major changes.
Who is Dr. Sharad Nair?
Well, I grew up in India in a city known as Nasik, which is 300 kilometers north of Mumbai. It was a small defense colony. My and the advantage of living in this defense colony at a very early stage of childhood, I was exposed to every religion, culture, language, about 10,000 people living there, and they came in from all over India, and also 5% of the populations were Russians.
Interesting.
So we also had exposure to non-Indians at a very early stage. And again, they used to come on assignments of 18 months to, I don't know, possibly a couple of years, live there, make it their home before they move back to Russia. So that very early on put me into a stage where I knew human beings are different. They come with different complexities, language. So if I were to design an ad to be published in Calcutta, I have to think in Bengali and not just take an advertisement which is in Gujarati and adapt it there and just
Yes.
translate it there. Okay, so also at a very early stage, I started my entrepreneurial journey because I was one of those kids that was not very keen on going out in the playground and
Very
playing,
introverted.
playing. No, I was not introvert. I was very extrovert. I was quite an extrovert kid, quite the contrary. But my only issue was I was quite against waste of time.
Okay.
Okay, so to give you an example of that, the two critical points of life when you're in school is in India, especially, is when you pass out your grade 10 and then when you pass out your grade 12. What you would call in England passing out high school or
Yes.
graduating high school is grade 12. So, grade 10, you have the longest vacation you would ever have in your school career. And most people would plan to travel, go play their favorite games, do a lot of stuff, go cycling, etc. I woke up in the morning after the last, you have a bunch of exams. And once the exam was over, most people were so relieved and they just want to go and get
Switch
into some
off.
kind of,
Yes.
do some activity which can be a stress buster because you're quite stressed. So, what I did is I woke up in the morning, and since I lived 20 kilometers away from the city of Nasik, took a bus, went into the city, and started looking at opportunities. Okay, I didn't want to stay idle, so I wanted to do something which is of economic importance. And this gentleman had a factory
Yes.
which was into rotogravure printing, and he had some spare capacity at that stage. So me and him, we decided to print a sheet of paper with butter paper at the bottom, to address an issue that existed in the market. So back those days in India, if you walked into the kitchen, most of them had steel utensils. Okay.
You'll still find that today as well, yes?
You still find that today. Some would have aluminium because it was cheaper. The middle class would have steel. So an issue with steel is it's difficult for you to identify sometimes, and if someone new is stepped into the kitchen, we saw that as a potential opportunity. So we designed stickers, which was in English, Hindi, and Marathi, because Nasik is in the state of Maharashtra, which had all these household items listed there: sugar, tea, coffee, all kinds of pulses, etc., and some blank stickers as well, so you could write it yourself. And I started going door to door with these bunch of stickers. The stickers were priced at 2 rupees 50 paise. And on selling each of these sheet of sticker, I would receive 50 paise in commission. So the whole of summer, which was a 3-month break before your results are out, I first started off with selling these sheets of sticker. And then this gentleman got busy with his factory, so he did not have the spare capacity to now manufacture these stickers, at which stage I had already covered the market pretty well. So then I went looking for my next opportunity. It started with that, and at some stage of my career in the mid-90s, I moved into UAE. And found myself in the financial services sector. Eventually, at some stage of life, I knew I had to move out of being employed to being an employer, because that will give me more creative independence and entrepreneurial independence. So in late 2014 is when I moved out of being an employee and started being an employer. So I got into various businesses. So it was quite a successful entrepreneurial journey before we came up to launching Tranquil.
So Dr. Nair, so everyone knows you as a developer now in the UAE, but what was it that you were doing before you entered developments?
Prior to entering the real estate industry, I was very popularly known in this bazaar as a banker. And I loved being known as a banker back then. Within banking, I worked in several banks and did roles all the way from a relationship manager to being the MD CEO of the bank. And large part of my banking career was in private banking, where I used to manage money for high net worth, ultra high net worth institutions, and also sovereign wealth funds in the region. When I was a private banker, I noticed large portion of my clients' portfolios were real estate assets. And that always motivated me to make a move into the industry. At some stage after moving out of banking industry, I also moved into thermal power, so which is thermal coal. So I used to buy coal largely from Indonesia and supply it to traders who would further sell it to power companies who would burn this coal to generate power. Then we started studying the market. My favorite subject is doing a lot of research in this. So while we went around and did research in it, we noticed there was a gap in the boutique real estate development segment, because originally a lot of the boutique players that entered the market have now grown up and become not so boutique. So we realized there's a great potential in the boutique segment. And when I say boutique segment, I'm talking about real estate development in the 150 unit space.
Yeah.
This gives anyone entering the industry, like some of the successful players around did originally, you can try and identify your buyer through his or her name.
Yeah.
And not just apartment number, or not just as a buyer of 3 units or 1 unit. So it gives a developer a beautiful opportunity to interact with the buyer, know them by their first name, last name, understand their aspirations, understand what kind of design, development, career growth they are into. What is it they'll be? Today they may buy a a two-bedder apartment and move in with a small family. But if you meet the individual, you may see they have career aspirations, they have business aspirations, and this may not be enough.
I think it just really highlights the more interpersonal relations that you can really generate with these clients instead
Precisely.
of having them there as just a figure.
Precisely, and also have the flexibility to adapt.
Yes.
So, after COVID, most apartments or apartment buyers would need a study because
Yeah.
work from home, and they expect work from home can become a trend if we have similar events, God forbid, if we have similar events in the future.
I mean, let's hope not.
It gives us great understanding of what a client would need, what a buyer would need, and adapt to their needs. I believe if we were in the mass market segment, at times adapting is difficult, and rightly so, because there are other logistical issues when you try and adapt your apartment to every buyer's needs.
I mean, there's that one saying where you can't please everyone, so ultimately it will appeal to who it appeals to, and eventually that will show in itself, and it has shown in itself.
True, absolutely.
And I believe that brings me on to my next question regarding your more recent developments and your more recent. So, in terms of your inspiration for your developments and your company in itself, what really brought that on other than your previous engagements with your dabbling in your assets?
So, when we were trying to put Tranquil together, me and my partner Aditya, we we're down to listing the core fundamentals on which we're going to develop this business. And part of those core fundamentals, we put a huge list of these fundamentals that we would never go away from. And the first point, being a banker, the first point in those list of fundamentals was financial discipline. In my lifetime, I have seen ample businesses succeed and be very prosperous, and also get into trouble with not maintaining a certain level of financial discipline. So having that experience and baggage, some would call it wisdom as well, it was very critical for us to make sure, rain or shine, once we start a project, we must complete it. And that's very critical. And for that to happen, we must have a certain level of financial discipline.
Yeah.
So we're in the business of taking calculated risk.
Yes.
We will not go around and get into areas of uncalculated risk, in a nutshell. So second principle was to stay boutique and be adaptable and accessible to a buyer. Third is what the buyers see when they come to our sample apartments. What they see is whatever they come and see is that should be delivered. Okay, when the product is delivered, it should not be something different to what we've shown them and what they would have envisaged, right? So idea was improve on the areas of improvement,
Yes.
which was our experience, and try and implement everything we found was good. Say, for example, in our personal lives, we've always noticed if we buy Siemens appliances, it's been the most durable appliance to buy. Siemens as a brand has played has given us a good experience.
Yes.
as a durable appliance. So let's translate that experience to our buyers as well. So when they move into our houses, they should have the best as what we've had. So what do we need? When I move into a one-bedroom apartment, I want it to be spacious.
Yes.
Okay, because one-bedroom apartment sometimes can be quite
I mean,
compressed.
some people say that Dubai is running out of space. Some people say that the one bedrooms now are the size of studios. But I know with Tranquil's projects, they're quite generous with the space.
Absolutely, because I would love to live in a spacious one bedroom, and the other, I've lived in a one bedroom myself before, as a, when it was just me and my wife back in the 90s. And what were the issues we faced in there? We always, so one bedroom apartments typically would have a powder room and a full bathroom attached to the master bedroom or the only bedroom there. So a few things that we've adapted here is, one, we've ensured these apartments have 2 full bathrooms.
Yes.
Okay, so practical issues of life. You and a wife want to, go out for dinner at 7. Both have to jump into the shower and be ready on time, right?
Yes.
So if there are 2 full baths in the house, it's quite helpful. We've provided a small, nice study in there. You can use it as a storeroom. You can use it as a study. You can use it as a kid's playroom if you have a young kid. Or if you can use it for if you have guests coming in, maybe they could stay in there. If you don't want them to sleep on your couch. And more importantly, this bathroom is a full bath.
Yes.
So again, they're not going to come and invade into your privacy.
I mean, from what I've seen with your most latest project, Blossom 76, is that you're really offering the convenience. Like you said, you've got the 2 full bathrooms, you've got the spacious storage room, which then can be converted as a maid's room, as an office, as a little study, a nursery, if anything. And it just provides that extra bit more to your clients.
True. It's 900 square feet, so the balconies are spacious. The apartment as a whole is spacious. So when you live in there, you should be inspired. You should not feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
You should. The name Tranquil and Blossom should really reflect in your lifestyles. So you should feel happy, and you should feel good about living in a large, spacious apartment.
So with your most latest project, Blossom 76, what do you think really draws your investors into the project itself, other than your brand itself, Tranquil?
Blossom, if you notice the project, you would notice at the podium level, there's a lot of green, wrapping around the podium. Now, most people would believe it's artificial. In our case, it's going to be natural greenery. It's going to be real landscape greenery we would have wrapped around the podium. And the idea of Blossom was, again, something that gelled well with the whole Tranquil concept.
Yes.
Tranquil is
To
peace,
give it, serenity.
True.
Yes.
So the Blossom kind of was an extension of that, right? And a lot of features that we have within the building, whether it's a yoga room in the gym, or a waterfall by the pool, a nice, beautiful waterfall by the pool, would kind of reflect these values eventually. So that's where Blossom was born.
So Blossom 76 is, as you said, 76 is based off the plot number, right?
True.
So you chose JVC as the location. What drove you to now buy the plot in JVC and then create your project?
When we were looking for land to launch our first project, we, of course, like any other investor in the market, we looked at various emerging areas. And when I looked at the town planning abilities that went around JVC, I quite liked the community being built there. So once we kind of liked the whole concept of JVC and the community being built there, is when me and my partner decided, okay, let's let the agents know that we are looking for a piece of land in this community. And we're very clear of it. We are not looking at other communities for the moment. So the mall and the young population around there, the location is also quite accessible to the new airport being built
Yes.
and also to the existing airport.
Yes.
So if you look at it, it's strategically quite in the center of Dubai.
Yes.
It's quite in the center of Dubai. And while it has a location advantage, it has quite quite a good accessibility advantage, whether it's the Al Khail Road, the Mohammed bin Zayed Road on the
I
other
mean,
end.
they're building 4 new entry and exit points as
True.
well. So,
The metro is being metro will soon be there.
yes.
So, but most importantly, when I walked around in that community, I noticed a lot of young budding professionals and entrepreneurs moving into that area. So I have a strong belief that when you see a young, ambitious crowd moving into an area like this, so I'm leaving all the strategic advantages aside, and I'm talking about the people that live there. That will bring in a lot of energy
Yes.
in that area. There is already a lot of energy in that area.
I mean,
It's buzzing with young families, young professionals and entrepreneurs that come into Dubai. They look at living in that area.
I mean, from my personal experience as someone that has lived in JVC, honestly, like you have young professionals like myself, everyone that moves will tend to find them in the middle point, which I like to call JVC anyways, simply because you're accessible to downtown, you're accessible to Business Bay, you've got access to offices in Motor City, Sports City, you can get all the way down to Damak Lagoons, Town Square, Burj Al Arab, wherever you need to go, you're there. And needlessly, without traffic, it's not long at all.
True. And those highway infrastructures around are very helpful.
Yes.
With those.
And it's more of a affordable starting point for people that don't know what they want to do yet.
True. Dubai is a city that keeps growing.
Yes.
Keeps growing at a pace which we are at times the envy of other cities around the world. Real estate available to the ultra high net worth, for the high net worth, for the young budding professionals and entrepreneurs. So it has to cater to every segment. So JVC is, in my opinion, catering to ambitions.
Yes. To be fair, I would say it's perfect especially for what you're putting out there, for the morals and the values of the company itself, and specifically not only just the price point, but for the community itself. It's growing, Dubai's growing, the real estate's growing, so it will grow together and eventually all merge, and it has, as Blossom 76 has caught a lot of attention and a lot of traction in the upcoming months.
Very true.
And I guess you could say that with Blossom 76 being such a success, do you have any plans for something else coming forward in the future?
Well, keeping in line with green philosophy,
Yes.
and making sure our projects have a lot of nature and energy. Nature also gives you a lot of oxygen and energy, right?
Yes.
We decided the next project we would enter would be in. So we've already acquired land in Barari, next to Barari,
Yes.
called the Al Majan.
Yes.
And our architects are at the moment putting together the plans for those, for what we're going to do there as a concept. It's in the primary stages.
Yes.
I'm hoping we'll be able to launch it around October of this year.
I will be looking very much forward to that.
Yeah, Barari is a very green, densely
Yes.
green part of the city. When I entered Barari for the first time in my life, for a moment, I felt maybe I was in a farmhouse. I was just entering some farmhouse in some other part of the world.
I mean, a lot of people that have visited or yet to visit Barari, they'll realize you're in the middle of the desert and you have so much green around you.
Yes.
It's so unnatural, but it all is natural. None of it is artificial. It's all there, and it's just gives you that kind of feel, whether you're European, whether you're American, from different parts of the world where you have that little bit more green there. It creates that sense of homeliness and draws people towards it.
Absolutely, yeah. You're still in the midst of nature.
Yes.
And you're feeling good about it.
I know, it's like 1 minute you'll be in Barari, next minute you'll be in downtown, and you'll be looking at the Burj Khalifa like, wow.
That's a different concept.
100%. How did you come about your contractor?
Engineer Mustafa is our architect, M Square. And when it was time to select our contractor, we received 4 bids. We
Right.
received 4 tenders. My philosophy of Tranquil is also to have a building which is blessed. And they were confused. What do you mean by blessing? Give a good product, that's blessing enough, right? I said, no. I need true blessings. So I said, how are you going to do that? So I said, choosing the contractor. So after we received 4 tenders, I requested a friend of mine who operated a institution under the CDA, Charity Development Authority, that if she could organize a food drive at the sites of these contractors.
Right.
So these contractors had existing sites where they're, and there are workers on those sites. So, and my friend worked for a company under the Charity Development Authority, which was into doing a lot of, philanthropic activities. So she went to these sites, connected with the site engineers or supervisors, and said, we would like to provide you lunch on so and so day. Collected information on how many vegetarians, how many non-vegetarians, any food allergy, etc., etc. Then we contracted it to a restaurant. It was all paid by me. And we actually did food distribution at a few sites for all these 4 contractors.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And while we're doing this distribution, I also requested them if you could collect data on who's treating an employee well. Are their medical checkups being done on time? Are their salaries being paid on time? Is their accommodation in good hygiene conditions? Are they being given good,
Livable standards. Yes.
good standards of living quarters, etc. So if we could find out who would qualify on these points, even if we have to pay slightly extra to this contractor, we must choose only these contractors who would pass this audit. Okay, so that's the blessing which will translate into this project.
I mean, of course, like you have there's been so many stories out there with these contractors and these workers being treated very poorly and not even in humanized standards, and it's just very important to keep those qualities, and it just reflects in itself, and it's completely understandable.
So this was my strategy of earning blessings.
It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy. That's amazing. How do you ensure attention to detail with your insight design strategies?
See, in my research, when I was talking to investors, end users, and the apartments they live in today, I was constantly trying to understand what is it that is missing. So what are the areas of improvement, not what is missing? What are the areas of improvement? You and your wife, you're in your mid-20s, you live in this beautiful 1-bedroom apartment. What do you think I can improve? What is my area of improvement here? So when I was collecting this data and was collecting responses and data, I realized this is pretty much the same problem I had. When I was young, married, just me and my wife, we didn't have a kid, right? And then we also had to adapt to the changing world, which is the post-COVID world, right? Post-COVID world is the realities of work from home.
Yes.
So we factored, if you look at our design, we factored all this into our services provided within the apartment, into our design element. Okay, most 1-bedroom apartments would come in with a powder room and a full bathroom attached to your bedroom. Okay, in our case, we've provided 2 full baths because quite often, in the late 90s, when I was living in a 1-bedder, we are in a hurry to get to an event. My wife has to take a shower. I need to take a shower, but only one person can fit in the shower cubicle. So it would have been very convenient to have a second bathroom, so that we both don't waste any time. Morning when we're getting to work,
Yes.
she used to leave at 7 in the morning. I have to leave at 7 in the morning. Both of us want to wake up at 5:30. So the other post-COVID reality is work from home. So we've provided a space within the apartment which addresses the element of use it as an office, use it as a nursery, a child's playroom, use it for someone who is visiting you temporarily. Maybe you could put a collapsible bed there for them to use that room. So we've provided this additional room, which you could use your needs and desires and
Just utilize
customize
it,
that
yeah.
room for that purpose. The moment you're not feeling claustrophobic because the walls are too close, it's going to give you a sense of tranquility.
I mean, you'll find a lot of one bedrooms are only ranging up to 600, maybe 700 at most square foot, and you're offering 900 square foot in a one bedroom apartment. It's more than enough, and I feel like it's a lot for the community as well, because especially just going to speak on behalf of JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle, the one bedrooms there, they range in such in size and quality, but what you're offering is literally what you're going to get. And it's like you're going to get 900 square foot of room, and you've got an additional storage for your kids. It's ultimately convenient for whoever it is, whether they be a young business person, whether they be an entrepreneur, whether they have a small family or they're a growing individual, to then just nurture themselves where they are for the time being till they figure out whatever direction they want to go.
Absolutely. And most importantly, I spoke about the end user. What is also important is for an investor, he or she should try and understand that when you're leasing out this apartment tomorrow, you're certainly going to receive more lease value for this in comparison to a smaller apartment, because people are not blind.
Yes.
Okay. So they're going to come see the apartment and they're going to realize this has more space in comparison to the other apartment, although that may be cheaper in rent. So you can get a better yield on this in comparison to the other one bedroom apartments as an investor. Because
100%.
people definitely would pay you a premium for the space.
I mean, even as an investor, having an apartment that's 500 to 600 square foot as a one bedroom, comparing to a 900 square foot one bedroom, what's going to be more appealing realistically? You get the size, you get the space, you get the luxury of actually having your own space and not feeling like you're living in a shoebox. As people tend to say that Dubai's running out of space, there's not this, there's not that. When in reality, it's just how you deliver what you are promised.
True.
Which Tranquil has very successfully done.
Thank you very much.
Don't worry. So going back to obviously your own real estate experience and how you've implemented these conveniences and amended your projects to obviously accustom to your buyers and to know them a bit more. What is your opinion on Dubai real estate and your experience overall as a developer and as an individual investing?
Well, Dubai as a real estate market, I believe has been quite progressive. Okay. We've gone from a stage where as a city, we were quite an unknown city at one stage of life when I was here, to today being the most recognized city across the globe. So also in markets like Auckland,
Yes.
if I'm at an event, individuals with an income of 10,000 New Zealand dollars a month would walk up to me and ask, "Hey, I believe you're from Dubai. Do you believe I should buy an investment property there, a one bedroom investment property? Because I hear so much about the city, the way the city is developing, the real estate boom, the migration boom from various countries, successful entrepreneurs, high net worth individuals moving in. So do you believe it's a good time to come in?" And it's quite delightful.
Yes.
It's quite a delight to be hearing of this. I was in Brisbane the other day attending a wedding, and I had at least 10 individuals come up to saying, "Oh, I believe you're from Dubai." and this was people with different income spectrums. So there were people with who are economically quite well off,
Yes.
also asking me the same question, and someone with a nominal 10-15,000 per month
I mean,
income was also coming up to me and asking me this question.
the question itself, should I invest in Dubai, is commonly asked amongst everyone that I've come across, against people that I've know back home that are currently just like, oh, you've moved to Dubai now. What do you think of the market? What's your opinion? I mean, each to their own, but understandably so. From my point of view, I think Dubai's only going to keep growing, and obviously your developments as well, and what's going on in the current market, I don't see it slowing down. And yeah,
So my popular answer to their question
yes,
is never bet against Dubai. Okay. Because you'll always lose. UAE is a country and Dubai is an emirate. They will keep having progressive policies which will continuously keep this city and country moving ahead. So that's never going to stop. If you believe a Palm Jumeirah was the limit, we now have Palm Jabal Ali.
yes,
Okay. Idea is similar to, go on the Emirati philosophy. Real estate as an investment asset class can get sick but never die.
yes,
Okay. So there is no right time and wrong time. Every day, every moment is the right time.
yes.
If it meets your budgets, it meets your financial planning requirements, please go ahead and buy in a property. Buy in a property for you to stay in it. Buy in a property for you to earn some rental yield out of it. Or buy a property to earn some capital appreciation, similar to other asset classes you would invest in.
So, considering Tranquil's newly launched, it's your first development, how come there's not much out there? There's not much marketing out there, not a lot of noise in terms of your marketing campaigns?
Well, we did debate this internally, also with our marketing and sales team and other stakeholders. We do have the financial strength, certainly, to go out there and make big noise, put up large hoardings, create a lot of, spend a lot of money on social media, etc. And my philosophy and guidance was, if you are able to deliver a good product, if you're able to deliver a good experience, with the boutique segment that we would wish to operate in, we don't need to create loud noises, put up large, expensive hoardings. Let us rather plow that finances into delivering a good product, into delivering a good experience. I think that's going to be far more beneficial for my buyers. And it's going to generate a word of mouth. And that word of mouth publicity is, again, far greater value to me than putting up a hoarding. Eventually, when my product is delivered, it's going to speak for itself.
I mean, ultimately it does, yes. I mean, we've seen that with, obviously, as I said before, the traction that it's gaining in the market. Obviously, just through this word of mouth, you've sold many, many units in the project itself, and it's becoming louder and louder. And
True.
yes, that is genuinely through all word of mouth, through agents, through buyers that have already invested, and potentially from clients that you've already had work alongside you and say, look, do you know what? I actually really know a great project that's coming up in JVC. This is something that you should definitely look at. And I can vouch for it because I know the chairman himself. I know the values behind it. I know how much soul and effort has actually gone into it. I mean, I don't think a lot of developers will go out there and really vet their contractors to the point where they're really, really trying to understand what kind of humanity and service are you providing to your workers. I mean, ultimately, it just truly just shows the nature and the value of the developers itself. And it's just amazing. I think that also brings me to another question where, how have you found your experience with the Dubai Land Department, and how have they really supported you in your development?
Well, when I do have exposure to various markets around the world, and Dubai, UAE as a country, Dubai as an emirate, I don't think we would be where we are today without the visionary rulers.
Yes.
And more importantly, the team, the visionary rulers have assembled for execution. So I'm quite often asked, how are you so different? Okay, why are you so different? So when they ask me about Dubai, I say, listen, a vision is nothing without execution. And in Dubai, we have mastered the art, UAE as a country, we've mastered the art of executing a vision
Yes.
with a certain level of perfection,
Yes.
right? We've mastered the art of niche marketing. Okay, my project, fortunately, with the niche marketing expenditure that I've done, my two-bedders are sold out, my studios are sold out, my retail shop is sold out. All I have now is one-bedroom, 1.5-bedroom apartments, which are also moving fast.
Very.
So I believe this would have never happened in most cities for a startup developer like me. And the only reason why it's happening is because Dubai, as an emirate, and UAE as a country, is very good at marketing. It's not just vision and execution, but also communicating that to the rest of the world. And more importantly, we as beneficiaries of these policies, we as residents living in the country have been beneficiaries of these policies, which have helped us in our lives. And we've in turn become ambassadors for UAE. So when we go across the world, we enlighten people on how our country has progressive policies, how a country adapts to various business environments, how a country... Take the example of tokenization in real
Yes.
estate.
Yes.
If you see how brilliantly the virtual asset regulator and DLD joined hands and with a record time put together a policy which is, and if you go back and look at the tokenization policy in Europe, the policy we have is far ahead of it.
Yes. Very. Very.
Although they may have been the pioneers, but we've come up with a product and with a policy framework which is going to be a benchmark for the rest of the world.
Yes. 100%. It's like they've almost perfected the process in itself.
We have one of the most brilliant minds in the world working in RERA and DLD, without which this can never be achieved.
Precisely.
Dubai and UAE is very fortunate to have such talent. Emirati talent, expatriate talent, consultants and experts being brought from around the world. We're very fortunate to have this.
I mean, they talk the talk and they walk the walk, most definitely.
Absolutely. Who would every morning wake up and say, don't be content with what you did yesterday. Put on your running shoes.
Yes, quite literally.
Quite literally. And get on your best game.
Yes. I mean, it just speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, what they've already established in such a short amount of time and bringing up to boutique developments and what's already there as a community, it just never ends and it's never going to stop. And it's just simply, like you said, a pool of opportunity. It's the perfect market to then just be that visionary and take it by the lead. Just go in and do it. And ultimately, it's what you've said is, you can't do it without the action. And if you've got the idea, there's no point just sitting there waiting for it to happen, because ultimately you can't estimate the market based on time, because the market's not going to wait around for anyone realistically. So it's about just getting in there, get your hands dirty and just start from the basics and work your way up.
Well, anyone who's lived here 28 years similar to me, right from, let's say, visa stamping, a residence visa stamping. If you ask anyone in 1997 how many days it took to get a residence visa stamped versus where we are today.
Yes.
Now, the reason why I'm quoting just a simple example, when I go to other countries, the beauty of Dubai is they're great problem solvers. Okay?
Yes.
You go to them and say, hey, I'm into this business and this is where I'm stuck. I have a regulatory issue or I have a policy issue, whatever, I have a problem. And this is the solution I'm looking for. And as long as you can give me the solution, this is what I can deliver. I have never walked away from the table with an answer saying, let's see. I've always walked away from the table with a very clear direction. Okay, brilliant. This is what we can do for you now, and this is what we can do for you a little later. So this is what I can immediately deliver, and this is what I can deliver within this time frame. Will that help you to deliver your ultimate product? Yes, absolutely. Okay, then get go. I'll make sure this happens. You focus on your business, and I'll make sure it happens.
This is why Dubai is so great. It's there for convenience. There's every kind of service that you can imagine here. And it's there to make your process and to make your experience seamless and to be as efficient and to just grow to the best capability that you can.
Absolutely. Traffic. So when it comes to traffic, someone says, oh, look at the traffic here. I say, yes, there is traffic, because where there's prosperity, there will be a bit of traffic. But let me guarantee you, sir, it'll never remain the same.
Very true.
If that is going to affect productivity and efficiency, before I ask, the government's going to do something about it. And they're going to do something very effective.
I mean, which they have. Which they have already.
Always. When it comes to infrastructure development, it is to ensure your productivity improves.
Yes.
Right? Better infrastructure is better productivity.
I mean, it's just reflected in itself. It speaks for itself. I mean, it all just ties back into being that down-to-earth person that's really just going to get in there and get it done.
True.
And really nurturing your relationships, nurturing who you're out there meeting, and taking every opportunity that comes your way and making the most of it. And it reflects, again, like I say, in your values, in your morals, into the person that you present yourself to be, as well as like your project, you wanted it to be blessed, and you've done that act of kindness, you've shown that act of giving back to your community to then have that peace of mind to say, do you know what? I've done this properly. I'm content with how I've gone about my development, and content in how I've contracted my partners, my business partners, and now I can truly say the product will show for itself.
Absolutely. You're spot on.
And all we can really say is thank you, and thank you, Dubai, for being the way it is.
And one would only realize the difference. So someone like me is qualified to speak about it, because there are countries I've visited and I continue to visit where traveling from point A to point B is going to take, say, 90 minutes. Okay? It took 90 minutes in 2002, and it continues to take 90 minutes or maybe 120 minutes today. With the growth in the city and the growth in population, etc., now the same journey takes 120 minutes. In Dubai, if a journey took 60 minutes in 2002, today the same journey would, for me at least, is 35 minutes or even less,
Yes.
at times 25 minutes. So for me, that is constant progress, because my productivity improves. Less time spent on the road is more productivity for me. Countries where, that time lag is only increased. Lanes have not
Nothing's changed.
expanded. New bridges have not come up. Half-built bridges there for the last 10 years. You have to get back and thank these visionary rulers that, hey, you have the vision to think ahead of us, and you create this beautiful policies, constitution, infrastructure for us, which has greatly benefited us. So thank you very much.
I mean, there's nothing more to say, really.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's all we can really
all
say.
you can do is thank them from the bottom of your heart and wish them good health and
Continue what you're doing, please.
Yes.
The most important mindset that you've obviously kept throughout these years to then push you to be more entrepreneurial and take these opportunities. Is there any key important factor in terms of the way that you think or way you went about things to then be this successful?
Well, in my humble opinion, I think the key factor that differentiated success from not so successful entrepreneurs was ethicality. Okay, I was in the business of private banking, which is where someone would entrust me with $1 billion, $2 billion, hard-earned $5 million, hard-earned $1 million. So trust is not just a password, right? So being ethical and being sincere was quite an important trait. Uh, and I've seen this across most successful businessmen, not just in UAE, but across the world. Sometimes people fake it
Yes.
with the expectation they can make it. But, most often they just fail at some stage. So the second most important aspect of, especially when you're an independent entrepreneur, is financial discipline. So when you're employed and you're working for a company, you would have the luxury of the organization, depending on what kind of small, medium, large organization you work for, them backing you with capital
Yes.
on ideas, on business plans, etc. The moment you are an independent entrepreneur, the only person that needs to back you is you yourself. So it's in both cases, whether you're working for an employer or you're working for yourself, financial discipline is quite critical, because that again is another factor which can make or break your business.
Yes.
Right? I once met a very popular industrialist who recently passed away in India at a friend's house in London. Okay, and this was over dinner. And when he noticed, at that stage I was banker, I was working in a bank, I was the managing director of a bank, and he looked at me, he was seeing me talk to others, talk to him, and at some stage in our dinner, he said, "Hey, Dr. Nair, please remember, with your level of passion, you're very soon going to be out of a job."
That's a very interesting thing to
Yes.
say.
You're very soon going to be out of a job, because with this level of passion, if you were my employee, beyond a point, it's difficult to tolerate you. Okay? But whatever else you get into with this level of passion, you will do very well with it. And the reason is because you have the fire, and you will constantly need business ideas, ventures to feed this fire.
Yes. I think that really just ties into like my next question. So navigating your career so efficiently and so driven and so passionate about what was next to come, did you face any challenges that you could possibly share with us that we could maybe learn from?
In my experience, the biggest challenge you have, whether you're moving up in your career or you're moving up in your career as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, in both these cases, you're economically growing very powerful, you have more money, right? Which means you have more buying power, you have more purchase power. And this growth also brings in a certain level of pride or ego in you. Okay? And if I have seen the downfall of a lot of my friends who are very successful entrepreneurs or successful professionals, I believe they found it very difficult to stay humble beyond a point. And not everyone can sit back, reflect, and say, "Hey, you know what? Yes, I was worth $10,000 20 years ago when I entered UAE, and today I'm worth $1 billion, which gives me a certain level of power, right? People love me, people respect me, people fear me. I have greater purchasing power. I go around in my Rolls Royce and Bentleys and Ferraris. With all these privileges and with all the economic success that comes in, it becomes very difficult for someone to stay humble. I believe one of the most critical factors of success is while you're going through these phases of economic success, can you keep your feet on the ground and stay humble?
Can you remember where you came from? Can you remember who you are?
Can you
Stay
please
grounded.
recall your background, your roots, your have that humility in you to say sorry,
To
It doesn't matter
apologize.
even if you have to say sorry to your driver
Yes.
for something, for a misdirection you've given him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't have the ego. So I recall in early 2000, we were going to have our first house help.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first time. So we had a temporary house help who would come in to clean the house or help us with the household chores.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time we're going to have a live-in house help.
Yes.
And my wife walks up to me and says, I need to ask you something. And I said, please. Huh? Very rare, when wife comes up and asks you for opinion. Said, you have a large team in the bank you manage, and you seem to be quite successful in managing them because they love you. How do you do it? Okay, you seem to have very low turnover among your team members. How do you do it? I said, it's very simple. I did the same job as they're doing today. Okay, I was a relationship manager. Today, they're a relationship manager in my team, right? I would treat them the same as I would want me to be treated when I was an RM. I may have not been treated the same.
But you want their experience to be that.
Although what I want them to do is I would never treat them in a way that I would treat myself. So as long as you can treat someone the way, so, if now you're asking me suggestion on how to retain a maid and how to keep her happy, right? If you were not privileged today and you had to leave your house, go live in someone else's house as a live-in maid for 12 months of the year before you get to see your family when you fly back home, how would you want to be treated in that household? Just treat this woman in the same manner. And this lady continues to be with us 23 years later.
I'm pretty sure she's very keen on where she is right now.
And her daughter continues to work for Tranquil.
Amazing. Amazing.
So the problem is with economic success comes a lot of ego massage. And those are stages when staying humble gets very difficult.
Yes.
Right? You completely forget that it was this humility, it was this humbleness, it was the fact that you could adapt your mistakes, improve on them, is what got you to where you are today. Right? So the moment you stray away from it, you are getting into a potential conflict zone.
I mean, people tend to lose themselves. They tend to lose sight of where they actually intended to go. And then once they stray from that, they then turn into someone completely different. And then next thing you know, they don't know who they are.
True.
I mean, I think just to tie this all together, is there any advice or a final message that you'd give to agents, to the people that are wanting to invest in the market, to developers that are now looking at establishing themselves in some kind of way? Is there anything that you'd put out there as a simple message to them?
When I started my banking career, I have met individuals who had negative net worth. Forget about positive net worth. Okay? And today, I continue to be friends and continue to be in touch with almost all of them. Today, some of these individuals have a net worth ranging from $10 million to over $5 billion, or also $7 billion. So I've seen them going through this cycle of growth, right? And I was with them in that journey, right? When they had negative net worth and they had come to me with a savings idea for 10,000 dirhams, I was standing there and I showed them how they could systematically save every month. If they had the potential, they could save $1,000 a month, get to $12,000. I'll invest this money into a well-managed mutual fund or Dow Jones 30 or NASDAQ or wherever it is, and ensure they have a steady return. Don't panic when the markets are down. Stay with me. We'll go through it together. We'll hold each other's hand. So if you can, when you meet a potential buyer or seller, you have to look at this individual as someone who's going to stay with you for a lifetime. They may not necessarily do, but if you start with that attitude in mind, if you start with that ethicality in mind, that 40 years from now, I would still know this person and I'll still be doing business with this individual, right?
Yes.
We only start our journey of our relationship today, and we're going to go a long way. So I could proudly say 28 years in UAE. And some of those clients today are my business partners
Amazing.
in various business ventures I have. We've jointly invested. I've had a business idea. They've come and invested in my business idea. They've had a business idea or a potential opportunity that has come up. They've invited me to invest in their business idea. Okay. And the only reason why this is happening today is because when I met them, and sometimes I've just met them in a cold calling. Okay. I walked into an office to try and see if I could pick up some potential prospects. I was there for an appointment, but there are other individuals in the office, so I could tap on them as well. Picking up from there, so if you ask some of them, when did you meet Sharad for the first time? Okay. They'll say, oh, I met him in 1997 when he walked into my office to meet Mohammed. So I asked, and while he was walking out, Mohammed introduced me to him saying, hey, this is Sharad from Citibank. You should also catch up with him privately. And this is how the journey started.
So I think just to tie that all together, just the relationship management, the development of the relationship, just understanding who you're talking to and really getting to know and develop that relationship and trust is
absolutely.
the best
Whether
approach.
it is someone coming to you to sell their real estate, whether you're coming in to buy real estate, or it is or your relationship with a potential developer. Please don't underestimate. The fact is, you may think, okay, it's a large market. Okay, I may lose this potential client to some other broker, right? But individuals who have a net worth of $1 million, who have the potential to buy a $5 million real estate, they're very intelligent people. Okay?
Yes.
They can see through you, and that is how they've made their money. They've not made their money by winning a lottery. Okay? That could be 1 in 1,000, right? The other 999 that you would meet are people who've earned this money with a certain level of intellect they possess, right? They can see through you. They can see through you, and they can understand the sincerity in you. They can understand the fact that if I stay with this particular individual throughout my real estate buying and selling journey, or throughout my journey of creating wealth by investing in real estate as an asset class, I'm in safe hands. I'm in someone who has my interests first and foremost before everything else. And you have to make them believe not through words. You have to make them believe through actions. I give you a simple example of this. Okay. I have an account in the bank. Okay. And when I have an account in the bank, the client's money is across various asset classes. But at any given time, I'll also have some money in the current account. Now, if you ask any banker, they would love money in a current account. Because current account, in terms of income to the bank, is a very critical element. First thing I would do in the morning when I walk in at 6:30 is I'll check if clients of mine, what kind of balances they have in their account. 9 o'clock, I'll call them up and say, hey, Alia, you have 100,000 dirhams sitting in the account. Do you have any use for this money? Alia would say maybe about 20,000 dirhams is needed for various purposes. So 80,000 you don't foresee any immediate need. Fair enough. I'm going to place it in a call deposit. Because in a current account, you're earning zero on this account. Let me place it in a call deposit. It may fetch you a 2%, 2.5%. No worries, but it's better than zero. Okay, I want your money to. So while you work hard for your money, I want to make sure your money continues to work hard for you.
And I think what you're really trying to get is just the level of service that you'd be providing to your clients, and ultimately guiding them and just navigating them through the real
True.
estate market, and really being there through the emotional buys, through
Absolutely.
the strategical buys, and really understanding what you can provide to them as a service is probably the most key thing that you can have with a client.
So if they believe that you are someone they can depend on, they're in a different business. They're probably selling automobiles. They're manufacturing a particular product. They have a factory to look after. They're not in the real estate business. So when they come to you, if they believe that you are someone who's going to take care of their money the way they would handle this themselves.
Yes.
Okay?
I mean, that also just ties back into...
Yeah, just try and be an extended arm.
Yes, it just ties back into that humanity, being that person, being that actual human that's going to be there to say, look, realistically speaking, this is what's going on, that's not going to happen, this is going to happen. And having those honest and truthful conversations then breaks the ice with your clients, then breaks the ice with the market, breaks the ice with your potential investors, with who it is that you're audiencing or you're talking to. That is ultimately what you need to get at. And I think you've clearly demonstrated that with Tranquil and Blossom 76. You've clearly demonstrated your morals, your values, and how you've really grown into your career, and how you've really implemented what you've initially remembered X amount of years ago to now, to then say, look, this is my experience. I'm ultimately here to provide a good service. I want to be remembered not just for my apartments, for my developments, for my career, but also for me being that human to then say, look, I've been where you are. This is what I'm offering to you because I've been in your position. And I think that really just shows the beauty of Tranquil and how Blossom 76 is flourishing the way it is. And all we can really say is thank you so much for being here and having this experience and this talk with us today.
Thank you very much.